Hello. Welcome to two smartphone to be on screens everywhere. So we are from Disney Streaming, which is Disney Plus, I hope you know it, but also Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Star Plus. We are based in multiple locations, including Amsterdam in Europe, but also New York and San Francisco, and kind of a lot of time zone in between. Let's present ourselves. I'm Sandra. I was the lead of the Disney Plus and Star Plus content discovery team for Android, but I'm not part of the founder team for design engineering. Try to get a design system to this cool app. And this is Maddie. She is the fluffiest.
Hey, so Sandra started it, and then it felt weird to put my photo next to Maddie and leave my dog out of it, so this is Madruguinha. I'm Guilherme Branco. I work as an Android developer at Disney Streaming in Amsterdam, and currently I am the tech lead of the B2B2C Android team. We work with partners. We do support partners, API integrations, and customizations, everything related to partners.
Okay, let's start. So I have a question, is what's an Android device today? I'm not talking about Wear or TV or auto project, this kind of stuff. I talk about the basic Android project I've done maybe a million times. We are kind of going for a smartphone most of the time at this question, but is it really accurate? Does Android is a smartphone? So historically, I will talk about what I know. So the project I work on right now, Disney Plus, but also my past experience. And usually when I receive design, I have mobile design and tablet design and TV, but I will let TV aside. Historically, that's always been kind of like this. But my question is, does that make any sense on Android? For me, it doesn't, because if tablet doesn't exist on Android, that's not a thing. So when design comes to you and say, what's the size of an Android device? My answer is like between 320 dp and something like infinite. It's kind of difficult. And you receive this cool tablet design, you need to make it work for a tablet of 7-inch, but also 13-inch, and it looks kind of crappy most of the time. So it's kind of difficult to make it work with this kind of requirement. It's always been difficult. Then new device arrived, and it became even more complex to make it work. And the separation mobile design doesn't reflect the reality, and I don't know if we want to continue like that. So this is Disney Plus, if it works. Internet, please. Oh, yes. So this is the Samsung Fold 3 in split view, so you can create a window of your app, and you can resize it. So when I play with that, I go from the mobile layout to the tablet layout, and it doesn't look good. It changes all the time, you reload. Honestly, that doesn't make much sense. So we can say, is it a unique feature? Like, hey, cool, that Samsung split view. I will talk a lot about Samsung today, we'll see. But no, you need to think about Chromebook, about this new tablet freeform who comes up in the Android emulator list, 30-inch freeform tablet. Or for also example, Samsung Desk. If you connect a screen to your Samsung, you have this Samsung Desk function. It looks like a Chromebook. It's not a Chromebook, but it still do the same thing. So we can say, in Europe, Chromebook is not really a used thing, I believe, but through the world it is. There is a report in 2020 that during the pandemic, Chromebook outsold MacBook. So don't put it too much aside, don't underestimate it, because it's a cheap and easy to use remote device, so people kind of like it. And the trends show that the market will grow a lot. So if we can put a bit more effort in Chromebook, that can be well good for your app. Also, let's say like Chromebook has a lot of different features than a smartphone, so you can create new features just for it. Next thing. I said mobile versus tablet is like the size of the screen. Like at 600, you go for a tablet and you have this different design. But what also is different now is the ratio. And it's absolutely not taken account in any design. So these are usually a simple ratio. If you take the pixel tree, it's like perfect. The ratio is 0.5. It's like two square, one on top of each other. It's insanely good. But the Samsung Fold, if you fold it, it's like this huge rectangle, 0.37. And when it's open, it's a square tablet, 0.8. What does that mean? So this is the detail page of Disney Plus on a pixel tree, the first image. It's kind of perfect. It's what we want. The media art is visible. The play button is at the cool distance of your thumb. You can play on it. Playing content is the most important feature on Disney Plus. Like, you want to play content. That's the only thing you want to do. So the play button is at the perfect distance. The rating also, the rating is very important for us. It's at the middle of the screen. You see it, no problem. All the important information is there, no noise. On the Fold tree, with this weird ratio, the play button is pushed at the middle of the screen, which makes it really difficult to reach. And you also have noise, like these tabs at the bottom, doesn't make much sense there. And everything is like squish. The media art, you cannot see really, it's not really good. I don't know if you already had a Fold in your hand, but when it's open, there is two modes. The first one is multi-view. Multi-view is a bit more than 600 dp, so it's considered a tablet, so we display the tablet layout. But if I go to the other mode, standard view, so it's a bit less than 600 dp, it's too big. Like, you cannot even see the play button. Doesn't make much sense. It's kind of the goal of that mode. Like, it's kind of an accessibility mode with everything is bigger, so you see more bigger stuff on your screen. But it's kind of bad. Like, you don't have the play button, you have no button, you just see the image. So I believe we can still do better. So we already tried to do some stuff on this episode to make this evolution between screen bigger. And instead of saying mobile versus tablet, we try to go by size of DP. And for example, on tablet, you want to have more content on your screen if you have a bigger tablet. You don't want to see bigger item on the screen. Doesn't make no sense. So one thing is we have this configurable JSON we use, which can make 3 elements if it's under 600 dp, 4 if it's under 720, and if it's above that, 5. It's a simple thing, but it makes the app more responsive across all screens. We also had this experiment. It's not something we use a lot, but it's kind of a bootstrap grid on Android. Sounds a bit weird. But we consider different number of columns per like different size of screen, and we always said, hey, the detail page at the middle should always be 12 columns outside of the kind of screen. So like I said, what's an Android device? Beside mobile and tablet, we also have Chromebook we talked about earlier, and foldable device. I just look like with this incredible ratio, add a new dimension to the screen sizing, and we need to think about ratio. Television is also a full other category with recommended sizing, 720 and 1080, but it's recommended, not mandatory. You always find some weird TV box with kind of crazy sizing. We also need to check the future, like bendable device. Research for bendable device starts a long time ago, and the curvy screen and the kind of fact you can bend will change your interaction with this kind of device. And finally, like I said earlier, if you open Android Studio, the last version, and you go to check in the possible tablet emulator, you will find this 30-inch freeform, where you can have windows like a Chromebook, but that's a tablet, and you can resize the window as you want. Also Windows 11, we know that. They will accept Android app very soon. That's also Windows. You have a keyboard, you have a mouse, so that will be fully different. So all the projects I work on, Android design has always been delivered like iOS, so mobile, tablet. But this range of screen I just demonstrate is like, are we maybe more like web? We did responsive, but kind of don't have the same interaction at all. So maybe we need something new. Maybe we have finally a good argument to go to see your designer and say, hey, I need proper Android design, because mobile versus tablet is not a thing for me. So my tips will be start to talk with designer. I say that, I just start to talk with my designer about that. So that's something which can help. Also, design system is a thing also we start right now, seeing each component as individual responsive thing, make it easier to create more diverse screen across all the screen sizing. And also, if you never did it, try your app in multiple size of screen in multiple type of devices. You can be surprised. Okay. Second dimension of the different devices you can have is the interaction you have with these devices. So for mobile, it's kind of easy. We're consuming touchscreen and kind of let Android framework do its stuff. It works most of the time, not much work to do. But at Disney, we have a brilliant QA. I love them. And they try kind of everything and also really weird stuff, like connecting Bluetooth keyboard on everything, like really everything, and create tickets saying the app is broken. So what's the solution of that? We were already kind of Chromebook compliant, but we let all that code for Chromebook kind of behind his Chromebook because we were very scared to let it go on every device. So kind of the first solution was like, hey, let's go enable that Chromebook stuff on every device. It kind of looks good. But also after that, we had the good argument, say, hey, we need to put more time and create a project around keyboard, because keyboard is a thing also on mobile devices. You cannot exclude that. I would say even more that I have the 12-inch Samsung tablet, and I have a tiny small keyboard which makes exactly the same size as that tablet. They look well together, and it works well together, so I want to use Disney Plus with that keyboard. I don't want to like touch the screen every time. So yeah, key event handling, even on mobile and tablet devices, can be a thing. So besides mobile, we are also available on TV, on a lot of TV. And a TV is mainly driven by remote, or a gamepad when you are NVIDIA. That means a lot of stuff. Android TV is available on a lot of different TV boxes, which means a lot of different remotes. A key event class has 742 key events, and 30 of them is only for the gamepad. So that makes a lot of buttons possible on that damn remote. Like I said, on mobile, we kind of use the base touchscreen thing, and it looks good. On TV, that's not the same thing. You have the default focus management of Android TV, but it's clearly not enough, or at least for us, it's absolutely not enough. For one thing, first, is there is the desire to keep control on the user journey. For example, at Disney Plus, on TV, you have this row of buttons, play, restart, add to your watch list. But if you click on right and you let Android do the focus stuff, it will go to the next line. I don't want that. Like, there is nothing on the right of the screen. I don't want the user to be able to do right. Also, the default focus is lost sometimes on a background image, a screen you put somewhere, a layout. I know that's easy to fix. You put an easy focusable fold somewhere, everywhere, and it works. But do you want to do that? Like, put that line freaking everywhere because the focus is lost. Accessibility on TV also, I would like to talk about it because that goes together a lot. It's painful, really. And it overrides the key event listener. So if all your override of focus I just talked about is in the key event listener, the accessibility will not follow it at all. So you need to do it twice. One for the focus, one for the accessibility. Then another way to interact with the device, I'm telling you, Samsung, the S Pen. So the Samsung Pen is available on the last tablet, S7 Plus and the new one, but also the Fold 3. And when the pen is close enough to the screen, it handles an overstate. So you can have the same overstate than you have with a mouse on a Chromebook or on web. So right now we say, oh, that's not that much devices like Chromebook and 2 or 3 different Samsung devices. But honestly, it's not much code to add. It's like 7 lines. And you can have a result which is like kind of OK. So why not? So for this part, I would say like focus on the link should be on all devices. not TV only, not Chromebook only, but every device can be connected to a keyboard, to a mouse, or to I don't know what, but ask to QA, they will find out for you. And so your app should be keyboard remote compliant, but also the overstate is kind of a really small thing to add, and it's like great result on the device. Then for the key event handling on TV and the accessibility, do it at the same time. Pro tips, experience, do it at the same time. Don't do once and the other after that. You will regret it really hardly, because after that, when you will want to fix accessibility, you will break the focus, and when you fix the focus, you will break the accessibility. So you don't want that. Then partners.
Cool. So to expand a bit more on the devices that we support, even more devices that we support, I will talk about this category of devices that we call partner devices. And on these devices, we see some of the challenges that Sandra just mentioned, especially with the set-top boxes, different remote controls, key event handling. But now I want to focus on the integrations and customizations we have with these devices. As we expanded to new territories, we got more partners and many more of these devices. And then at some point we realized, okay, it would make sense to create a dedicated team for that. So that was when my team was created. So we have, this is from a technical point of view, so what it means for developers. And we have different groups of partners. We have platform partners, smart TV devices, and operator tier partners. So platform partners, for us, Android, they are basically Amazon and Google. Smart TV devices are basically the companies that offer Android TVs. And operator tier partners are usually TV providers, internet providers that offer set-top boxes that run Android to their clients. So one example of integration we have with platform partners, as I said, it could be Amazon or Google, is the integration with the billing API. So we access the billing API to build the paywall. Then the user can select the subscription they want. They will go through the payment flow with the partner. And then, hopefully, everything goes well, they pay, and then they go back to our app. Another example is when we provide some content to the partner that can change the home screen of the device. It can be like a recommendation of a movie, a show, or the continue watching session, recommended shows session, something like that. So this was the platform partners. For the smart TV and operator tier ones, they are similar, the kind of integrations and the customizations we have with them. And there are a few things to consider here. So sometimes the app can be pre-installed on the device by the partner. And that's cool, like it means that more people will have access to the app. But it also may change the way the app is updated, because there's no guarantee that users will ever log into the Google Play Store on that device. So in order to get the app updated, or to make sure that the app is updated, we need to coordinate with the partners to do that. Also, we have APIs that partners can use. These partners, they might have like a different user experience, like a custom onboarding, a custom billing flow. It's also possible that these devices are running an open source version of Android, So it's good to make sure that you are testing your app on this version of the OS. And also we do like UI customizations with these partners. This is an example. So the users using this device will see a custom logo. The copies on the screen can be defined by the partner. We can show like a sign up or login only experience, and all that can be coordinated with the partner. Okay, so how we do all that? I will not dive deep into the implementation details here, but I want to show an overview of how we do that and what's possible. And we do that using something we call target overrides or remote configs. And basically, we have a bunch of devices that we support. As I said, we have like different platforms. So we can target all devices of one platform, for example. Or we might want to target all devices from a specific partner. That's how we do the custom welcome screen, for example. It is possible to target a specific device, and that's especially useful when we notice users are getting errors on a specific device. Then we can disable something or override some configuration to prevent users from getting these errors, and this gives us time to investigate and do a proper fix if necessary. It's also possible to combine different things, so all devices from a partner plus some information from the session, or it can be a specific device plus the location, a device plus the device capabilities, and things goes on and on. We have a lot of possibilities there. Cool, so I want to talk about tests. This is an important part in the process of like supporting all these different devices and all these different screen sizes, partners, customizations. So as you can imagine, testing it is very important. So how we make sure everything works as expected. So Sandra already mentioned about the QA team, so I want to quickly just show more or less the process there. We have a dedicated QA team, actually two teams, one specialized and dedicated to mobile, another one dedicated to Android TV and set-top boxes. They do a lot of manual testing. They also have automated tests, and they usually do the regression testing on feature complete and release candidate builds. There are exceptions, but that at most of the cases. And I want to focus on again, developers' point of view here, how we do tests. And I want to tell you a short story on how it was before, more or less 1.5 years ago, and what is the current state now, and the motivations to do what we are doing. So you as a developer, you would be working on a local branch, fixing a bug, or working on a new feature. Or even you commit your changes, push your changes and put a PR up, so your teammates will be reviewing your code. And these were the possibilities. So we would do manual testing. We used to do a lot of manual testing, we still do. But you would test your changes. And this is important. We have an Android team, and then we have sub-teams that we call feature teams. And basically, each team is responsible for different parts of the app. One team is responsible for onboarding, the other one for player experience, a third one responsible for content, and so on. So you would be working on something related to your team, also testing the features your team is responsible for. That would be the case most of the time. But also we have like when we are updating a library or merging something into development with a lot of conflicts that you needed to solve, then we would ask like reviewers to do a smoke test, just go around and touch things on the app. And of course, you would also do the smoke tests. So another option, of course, is unit tests. We have unit tests. You would run them locally, or they would run with every commit that you do on your PR automatically. And also, we had just a few instrumentation tests at that point. So going back to manual testing, we have Disney Plus, then you would test Disney Plus, but we have a Amazon build, so we would test for mobile and TV there. Sorry. And of course we have Google, and it's the same scenario. So already here it's a lot of things to cover. But then at some point we launched a new app, Star Plus. So here we have the same scenario. So now for sure it's a lot to cover with manual testing. And if we see the other side, like as I said, we only had a few instrumentation tests, only for Disney Plus, only Google, and only mobile. So things are not well balanced here. So that's why at this point we decided, okay, let's write more tests. Let's improve this environment here. That's where when R2D2 came to help us. We created a R2D2 framework, and actually it didn't start as a framework, so we were just trying to solve some of the common issues that we were facing with instrumentation tests. If you ever worked with instrumentation tests, you probably faced the same challenges. So it was flaky tests. You could have like network connectivity issues. In our case, you could get, so most of people were working from home, so you could get your IP address blocked by the server if you run, when running these tests, making too many requests. And that was not cool. My wife didn't like when Disney Plus was blocked at home. Yeah, so we needed to fix that. Also, like it's really hard to create different states for different scenarios, different use cases that you need to test, especially like doing that and not affecting other tests. So basically, R2D2, it allows developers to override HTTP responses. So developers can manipulate the state, like do a setup for your test, change this, override this state during your test, and then after, of course, clean everything up. Also, it has a simple domain-specific language, and we do that with a lot of extensions that we created for Espresso and UI Automator. And we use the page object pattern to make things more readable and reusable. We created annotations to help filtering out these tests. As I said, we have featured teams, so we created annotations for the teams, so you can annotate your test, and that will be mapped to your team. We also have what we call automated smoke tests, so you can run, you don't need to like, you can, of course, you can still do the smoke test, the app, but you can also run it with instrumentation tests. And these tests, they have the minimum amount of stub and overrides, so it's more like end-to-end tests. And yeah, we have other types of annotations as well, like the core tests. You can run them if you want. And using these annotations, we also created more integrations and tooling. For example, the dynamic script, we call R2D2 test script, because we like the name. So you can run it locally. It will give the options. You want to run Disney Plus, Star Plus. Then you can run by team, so only the tests your team is responsible for. Or you run using the common annotations that Android already gives you, like the options that Android already gives you, like annotations by class, package, etc. We also created a Slack integration, so you can also, from Slack, trigger a build that will run only the tests your team is responsible for. But this time it will run on Firebase Test Lab, so you don't need to run them locally. And there are more integrations, more work in progress, especially with PR integrations. So now, as you can see, things are more balanced. Like we have the options to do the manual testing, but also run all these different builds and variants with instrumentation tests. So some key learnings here. With the partners, so we need to work closely with partners, and that's why the team was created, a dedicated team was created. But also we can improve like the onboarding process of getting new devices, maybe even before the partners can send them over to our offices. And we think like automation and tests, instrumentation tests can help with that. Also with the instrumentation tests, I didn't mention, but we did all this with a dedicated team, like we were creating new tests, improving the tooling, like working on the framework, and the other teams were not really involved, like on the creation of the tests. And then at some point we did the handover of the ownership of these tests to the teams. It was actually like a couple of months ago, but then it was really hard to get the stable build, like and keep without the other developers being aware of these tests and running them and see if things if they will break the build. Also, like it's still a recent thing that we introduced these tests into the process. We are still like collecting some data, seeing how many bugs we catch earlier in the process, like before sending the builds to QA. We are collecting some feedback from developers. So it's still early to say like how things, what's the next steps. But we do know that developers want more and more integrations. Like they want to go to the PR and they just add a label to run the tests. And so definitely we'll have more integrations with PRs. We are just not doing it right now because it will be a big impact on the workflow, and we just want to see how it goes and get some more feedback from them. And that's it. Any questions?
Hello. Do you use Jetpack Compose?
Not for now, but this is in the plan. But it's the biggest plan. Like Disney Plus is a huge app. Like really, like we talk about maybe 150 modules, And honestly, I don't count how many layout we have. So moving to Compose is something we need to plan properly. We cannot like say, hey, let's start it. Like when you have an app available for billion users in the world, need to be a bit. But that's the plan, especially with the design system part I was talking about. There's something we start, and that's something I would like to maybe start at the same time.
Thank you.
Hi, sorry. One question. For example, say that you receive a new image, a new device that supports Android, a tablet in a car. How do you plan to support that new interaction? Because I see that you have different screens, you have a touchpad inside of the car, or something like that. How do you plan that you have to support those new inputs and that kind of things?
That's something we can need to work on. Like that should be a project. Like that's not something you say like, hey, let's go. You try on the device and you see what's different and why your system doesn't work right now on it and how you can improve it to include that device. Not to make it for this device, but how you include this device in your current way to do it. If it doesn't include, like if you exclude it right now, it's because your way to interact with devices generally is not good enough, or it can be even better, we'll say, which is cool.
Yeah, sometimes like it also depends on the partner and the company. Like sometimes they try and then come to us and say, hey, this is what it looks like on the device. Can we do something about it? But then it goes like sometimes with all product involved and to see when we start to like make changes and support that device.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. My question is, do you have an internal organization to build R2T2 framework, or it is the responsibility of one team inside all your team?
Yeah, right now it's responsibility of one team. As I said, it didn't start as a framework, so it was like myself and some other teammates in the team like building it. And now, yeah, my team is responsible for it to keep evolving the framework or maintaining it. And the idea now is that the tests themselves will be a responsibility of the teams will be responsible for the tests.
Okay, thank you.
What's the size of your engineering team for the Android application?
All the team.
The size of the engineering team?
Okay, all the Android developer?
Yeah, I guess.
50 plus, something like this. I think we are between 45 and 55 right now. But yeah, if you want like doing this kind of stuff, you need a big team. Like it's.
Yeah, and they are not working all on Disney Plus Star Plus. We work on Disney Plus Star Plus, but we have some engineers working on ESPN Plus and other apps. So
player, we have dedicated team for players, dedicated team for SDK, dedicated team for Fed design engineering. No, so. Good. Thank you.
thank you.